Ahoy cruise enthusiasts, it's our favorite time of the month. I know, I guess this is now a monthly series. No promises. Anyway, let's answer some cruise-related questions or talk about some cruise-related things that I saw on Reddit. First of all, maybe I should do this later, but if you think you like this video, then go ahead and leave a like, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button. Heck, even if you don't think you'll like it, go ahead and leave a like and hit the subscribe button. Don't bother hitting the bell. I don't do it for anybody, so I'm not going to expect it of you. All right, some questions from Reddit. I actually don't remember how many, so let's just get started. Number 1. Are adults-only cruises typically a swingers thing? My wife and I are looking for a cruise that is child-free. Okay, that's awesome. We are not necessarily into swinging, okay, but would like a relaxing time without kids running around. We just don't want to step into an awkward situation unknowingly. All right, so if you're asking this about general cruising, I imagine you're asking about 18 and older cruise lines or cruise offerings like Virgin Voyages or even Carnival's recent SEA offerings. Those are not swingers cruises. They are not in any way, shape, or form swingers cruises. If you want a swingers cruise, there are outfits out there that do essentially group cruises for swingers where that is a thing. Of course, so, well, since you are, you know what? Okay, your wife and I. Okay, so gay cruises are out. But yes, there are companies that organize these things. So if you are looking for swinging, then you're going to have to do that. But Virgin Voyages, Carnival SEA, no, these are not swingers cruises. Of course, if you are consenting adults looking for a little bit of adventure, yes, making new friends on cruises is a thing, and it's not that difficult. So if you are interested in that, yeah, I think you can figure that out on your own. But no, go ahead, book that SEA cruise, book a Virgin Voyages cruise, and you're going to have a fantastic time. Don't worry about anything. Next, man fired. I don't know if this is real. Man fired after employer discovers his home office was a Carnival cruise ship for 14 months. Okay, that sounds a little sus. This could be AI, but it is something that I think a lot of people may have dreamed about. I'm sure we have all seen people working on cruise ships. I actually mentioned this in another video, how they kind of bring out all their equipment, they set up on a big table. Okay, that, if it's quiet, that's fine. If it's busy, not cool. But yeah, a lot of people do work on cruise ships. I have worked on cruise ships, especially with, internet these days. It is actually pretty easy. Might be a little bit more challenging to take meetings in the middle of the piazza, but if you have a primarily remote job, yeah, working is fine. And you know what? I would be pretty surprised if employers had in their contract, like you had to be at a certain place. Maybe some do. But, you know what? If you do want to try this, read the contract, make sure it's not stipulated, and you should be good to go. Now, this is the thing, though. Was he doing his job? Right? Was he doing his job? Was he delivering? Was he meeting all his goals? In which case, who cares where he's working from, right? So, yeah, it's a thing, but, if he was just fired for working on Carnival, yeah, that's not cool. Next question. Premium lines with constant upsells. So, my wife really hates hearing upsells either from salespeople or over the loudspeaker. Tell me about it. I tolerate it, but don't care for it either. Who does? If it's a flyer or email, we figure we can ignore it. We just don't like it when we are trying to relax. Oh yeah, I hear you. We are mostly interested in the premium lines where we can chill, but I noticed some recent YouTube videos. It appears Princess is guilty of this. Am I misreading it? If not, what other lines are more chill and don't constantly upsell you? Okay, so the deal with this is Princess is a premium line, but it's still a normal cruise line. I suspect Holland America is pretty much the same, like Celebrity also. They are all going to upsell you for the exact same things, pretty much, to be honest, that you would get upsold on even on Carnival. Like the jewelry, the shopping, the spa, the art, whatever, and all sorts of things like that. And yes, they do tend to talk a lot over the loudspeaker. I was just on Costa Pacifica, and yeah, if you don't like the upsells in English, imagine having to sit through them in 5 languages. Yeah, that was not fun at all. So I do not remember this a lot. It's been 2 years now on Holland, so that might be an option you should look into. Maybe watch a couple of videos from Holland America. I have a full series on Rotterdam. Fantastic time. But yeah, I can definitely understand how people would be talking about this aboard Princess. So if you want an upscale line without a lot of constant upsells, especially over the loudspeaker, well, one option for you is Disney. Yes, I will repeat, you might be two adults looking to relax, and Disney does a very good job of separating the kids from the adults if you can tolerate them in like the main areas. That's what you have to do. But they don't do a lot of upselling. It's a Disney cruise. They don't have to. The shops are packed constantly. In fact, they sometimes have to do reservations if there is a big merch drop or something. So they don't need to upsell. Of course, you could also go luxury or ultra luxury. There was no upselling that I really recall, or no like annoying upselling on Explora Journeys. It's all inclusive. It's luxury. They're not going to really pester their guests, for this. Or on Crystal Serenity, honestly, I don't remember being upsold for anything, even the dining. There really is nothing to upsell on the ship. It is all included. There's a flyer. There were flyers for the spa and the shops, of course, but yeah, you can just, toss those in the garbage. So yeah, going luxury is definitely an option. You might also try the ship within a ship. In Yacht Club, I don't know if all the announcements were piped into the Yacht Club. I really don't remember. If there was an announcement from the captain, sure, but honestly, someone go back and watch all the Yacht Club videos on MSC Seascape and let me know if did I talk about the announcements. That might be an option, but I don't know. So yeah, watch the videos and look into that. But yeah, if you really, really want no upsell, you got to go luxury. Whoops, a daisy. We lost track here, and yep. Okay, it's gonna come back. You just have to figure out where we were. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah, I just do this real time now. You know what? Why bother to edit? Anyway, thoughts on this? Saw OP on Threads. The comments seem to be split, half saying to complain, the other half saying to deal with it. Yes, complain. Absolutely, 100%. Or not really complain. Turn him in. Be a snitch. Whatever you have to do. This is dangerous. We all saw what happened with, what was it, Diamond Princess or Emerald Princess a few years back, where a lit cigarette, or a cigarette that was disposed like a long time, like hours earlier, somehow ignited something on the balcony, and it turned into a rather tragic event. I believe 2 guests lost their lives. And since then, though, the ships have been re-engineered, new materials, new fire suppression systems, but still, fire is a danger on a ship, and this is just bad. I have, you can imagine, seeing this person, if they're just going to ignore the rules, smoking on the balcony like this, you can just imagine they're just going to flick it off. And you know what? All it takes is somebody to ignore the other rule about not leaving stuff on your balcony. It lands in someone's shoe and causes a fire, which might be contained, and maybe only that one little balcony, got damaged, but that's still a huge deal. And, even if nothing happens, they're still going to flip the cigarette overboard, and they should go get it. Absolutely. If you flick a cigarette overboard, you absolutely should be sent in to retrieve it. I have done this on my boat before, so yeah, I said it, and I absolutely mean it. Just tell your cabin steward that you think the people next door are smoking, and let them sort it out. Or you could show this picture to guest services. I actually wouldn't give it to them. You don't really want any evidence tying it back to you, but you could just show guest services or show security and just let them handle it. But absolutely, I have no problem being a snitch in this situation. Next up, okay, at what point are you using a chair and not hogging it? Okay, just experienced a pretty silly scene at sea. Okay, this one goes on. Just sitting here around the kids area on Star of the Seas, I bet that was a fun experience, and witnessed one of the most ridiculous things I've seen. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically, just had a woman who was sitting at the edge of the ship go to the family next door, ask if they were using a chair. The family says no, the kids are using it. She didn't like that answer, then took the chair and said, when the kids come back, let her know. Well, of course, 2 minutes later, as is always the case, the kids come back wondering what happened to their chair, and the older woman could not be bothered to acknowledge. Well, I'm sure we all know what kind of woman that is. I know the seat saving is a problem, but this was a bit much, yada yada. So, unfortunately, most of the time, it's just not worth the confrontation. I know how that sounds, but, if she's going to be this way, just let her be that way. Maybe the only thing you could do is one of the parents gets up and literally walks over and stands in front of her and says, okay, the kids are back. We'll take the chair, just to make sure she knows that she's in the kid's chair. maybe even emphasize the kids, right? But I wouldn't do anything because it's honestly not worth it. You're on a cruise ship. There are other places to go, and maybe if you want to be really petty about it, you just tell the kids to just sit and play really loudly next to her. But that's about it. Yeah, I wouldn't bother. If somebody took my chair, I would just grab whatever stuff I had around there and move on. I'm always on the underway anyway, so for me this is just crazy. I would remember her, and maybe if she's a smoker, I would watch her, and if she throws something overboard, then rat her out to security so she can be put off at the next stop. But yeah, similar things have happened to me, so it's not worth doing anything, believe me. All right, here we go. Least favorite aspect of cruising. All right, this should be fun. A question for those of us, myself included, who actually love cruising. Well, I hope you do. Otherwise, why would you be here? Let's see. Start with an easy one. Luggage for disembarkation requirements, namely having to be packed the night before and put your luggage in the hallway if you want assistance getting them off the boat. Ooh, boat. Let's see. If you want assistance getting them off the boat, I am 2 Type B vacation for that, and for that kind of prep, I stuff everything in my bag the morning of and huff and puff all the way off the ship with my bags, and those carpeted cruise hallways are effing long. Yes, they are, and no, not going home is not an answer. Okay, I hear you. Yes, if I just have the backpack or the rollerboard, I don't put anything out because it's really not worth it. I just carry it myself. If I have all of my steamer trunks, I take 25 costumes for one cruise, then yes, I will pack and I will leave at least the big one out in the morning, maybe 2 actually. I've done that before. I totally get it. What I don't like about this scenario is the cruise lines have these different, they're all over the place. Like where were we once, recently, where the drop-off time was super, super late, like 11 o'clock or midnight. And then on another cruise, it was like 8 p.m. It's like somebody come up with an industry standard, please. But this is another area where I wish one cruise line would just try something a little bit different. Like, I think they should have a central luggage drop-off that's open later, like at least to 1 a.m., right? You don't leave it in front of your door. In fact, I would prefer the luggage not be left in front of the door because it kind of gets in the way, right? So everybody has to take their luggage, to like the elevator vestibule and drop it off there until 1 a.m. And yeah, it's just easier on the crew. It's all right there. It's probably easier on guests too because they don't have to be, packed so early. And yeah, I mean, I would like to see some cruise line at least try something like that. However, the question is, what are your least favorite aspects of cruising? And I had to think about this one for a little bit. And yes, I did pre-read these. Took me not really a while, but I was thinking there's nothing really that bothers me except, yes, there is one thing that really, really bothers me, and that's an inefficient embarkation. One that is just way more complicated, way more stressful, and way more of a hassle than it needs to be. Right? Let's say Royal Caribbean has set the standard for embarkation, and there is really no excuse for, especially any of the major cruise lines, to not be right up there with them. Definitely, the entire Carnival Corporation, all their brands, all the Norwegian brands, and even maybe some of, the larger, additional players. Like Disney's got it down pretty good. I didn't really have a problem, although it's been a couple years. But yeah, a hassled embarkation is probably the worst thing ever because it just puts you in a bad mood, for your cruise. And I've seen a couple videos recently about just bad embarkation experiences, and some are kind of understandable, others are not. Others are inexcusable. Like I just had, you'll see it eventually. I had a terrible experience at La Romana. Oh my God. do not, trust me, do not cruise out of La Romana. It's crazy. So yeah, that's probably my least favorite part of cruising, is just an inefficient embarkation. Like, yeah, if anybody does it like Royal Caribbean, or at least close to that, not a problem at all. You should be from curb to ship in 10 minutes if there's no line. So yeah, that's my least favorite part of cruising. All right, I think this is the last one. Anyone actually found a cruise that feels fully all-inclusive? Okay, I keep going in circles trying to figure this out. Every line screams all-inclusive until you book closer and realize there are still a bunch of extras. I know. At this point, I think I care more about not having to think about every little charge than everyone else, plus avoiding big crowds. Okay, well, there's options. I did come across Silversea while digging around, and it looks closer to what I had in mind, but hard to tell how that exactly feels once you're on board. For anyone who's done smaller luxury ships, did it actually feel different or just more expensive version of the same thing? Oh, okay, very, very great question. Here's the deal. In a way, every cruise is all-inclusive, right? It really just depends on what you want to do and what you expect. You can book the cheapest, cruise on Carnival, and if you don't drink, don't gamble, don't like don't like getting massages, or don't like shopping or anything like that, then a Carnival cruise is all-inclusive, right? You get food, you get the pool, you get the entertainment, you get, the cruise ship activities, and you can go and walk around the port on your own. You don't have to spend money on a shore excursion, and you can drink. There's drinks. I mean, there's flavored drinks in the buffet. Obviously there's the buffet, the dining room. So yeah, a Carnival cruise can be all-inclusive if that's what you want. Now, I suspect that what they really mean is booze, right? Because that's kind of what everybody thinks. The closest I have come to an all-inclusive, actually, I think, was Explora Journeys, because they had a thermal suite, like a legit thermal suite on Explora One, that was also included in your cruise fare. You're gonna if you want that kind of all-inclusive experience, and you're talking about Silversea, that's where you have to go. Any of those luxury lines would be all-inclusive because they do include booze. I think even Regent includes shore excursions as well, I believe, or one of those two. It's either Regent or some brand like that. It does also include shore excursions, and a couple of the European luxury operators might as well. But if you want like really good food, excellent service, included liquor, then you have to go luxury. So there you go. That's the answer. Or again, ship in a ship. The Haven, Yacht Club, and maybe even Sanctuary on Princess, although I think that works like a little bit different. But so it's either ship in a ship, or you got to go luxury for your genuinely all-inclusive experience. Although I will say, Norwegian with Free at Sea, if you buy up on the internet, that is pretty much all-inclusive. I don't think I spent any extra on Norwegian Aqua except for a shirt and I think that's it. Really, there was nothing else to spend money on because I had Free at Sea. So that specialty dining, liquor, and then all the regular activities are also included. So yeah, there you go. You can make it all inclusive if you book ahead and just buy into whatever package. Or Princess Premier. There you go. Then it becomes all inclusive. And if you're looking at Silversea, adding Princess Premier to a Princess cruise that's not on Sun or Star Princess is probably as close to all-inclusive on a big ship, on a mainline cruise line, as you can get. Right? Okay, that's it. Those are our Reddit questions for this time, this week, this month. I don't know. Wow, this actually ended up a lot longer than I thought it would. And we did this all in one take. Can you believe it? Yeah, this is all going to be one take, no editing, except for I'm going to have to cut out actually, it was just a list of screenshots, so not really a big deal. Okay. Well, I should have thought of something to close this. So again, if you stuck with me this long, you, for some reason, enjoy these videos. So go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and you know what? Next time we do Reddit questions, I hope to see you out of the cabin.